be the concept of the cost estimation with regards to BIM. Okay? So last time, we discussed the topic about what are the main purpose of having BIM applied in the um, project during construction or sometimes during design. And then we also discussed the benefits that we get from BIM, such as we have this clash detection, we have this um, rule set wherein we would be able to check whether the modeled item in the model are abiding to a certain rule set. Like for example, if the rule set are are taken from standards, so doon natin malalaman kung tama ba yung pagkakagawa. And also at the same time, we also discussed last time yung with regards to clashes wherein we would be able to identify the location and then which utilities or which aspect of the construction will adjust with respect to every clash na matatagpuan natin. And then sometimes we ignore, if you could remember, di ba, we can ignore some of the clashes if it's minor or if not, if it's major, so might as well adjust it during the model phase pa lang tayo or habang dinidesign pa lang. Pero yung mga minor, di ba, as we discussed, pwede naman siyang i-tweak on site if you could remember that. So that's under the BMC. Okay. Now, with regards to the BIM, so we can also provide estimate or the basis of the cost of this project. So basically, ang mga nakukuha natin dito is more on, in terms of the estimate, is more on the materials kasi as you remember, di ba, noong unang lecture natin, I show you what are the softwares that are being used in terms of the BIM. Hindi lang din naman yan, puro Naviswork lang eh. Sa Naviswork, you collaborate na. Pero as part of it, before you exported it papuntang Naviswork, so the softwares that you're using in the modeling, so most of the time there are um, there are quantity take of features for every for every software, like for example sa Revit or for example sa Civil 3D for the civil projects in terms of the BIM. So nakakakuha tayo ng mga values or ng mga data in terms of the cost estimate. Okay, so let's proceed with the topic. Now, with that, okay, so again, our topic for today is the BIM and cost estimating in a change in the process for determining project cost. Okay, so for just a brief introduction, in the field of construction project management, BIM has emerged as a transformative technology revolutionizing various aspects of the design, construction, and operation of a building. So ito yung sinabi natin before, 'di ba? What are the parang para saan ba yung beam and then what it brings to the table, 'di ba? So ano ba yung nabe-benefit natin diyan? One important areas, okay, where beam has made a profound impact is in cost estimating. Okay, traditional cost estimation relied heavily on manual methods such as quantity takeoffs and spreadsheets, which are prone to errors and time-consuming. Generally speaking, yung mga manual methods are time-consuming and at the same time, um, it may lead you to errors such as like for example na sisira yung spreadsheet, 'di ba? Nako-corrupt, okay? Or minsan meron tayong maling mga na-overlook in terms of the um, estimating process kapag ginagawa natin siya manually. Okay? Now, with that, I can say on the other way around, prone din naman somehow yung beam natin in terms of error if the data you provided are not reliable or the data you provided sabihin na nating mali. Okay? Siyempre, the the data na pagkukuhaan lang naman ng BIM with regards to the cost estimation are the data that you input. Okay? Tapos pinrocess niya to model. Pero basically, yung pinrocess niya into model, nanggaling yon sa in-input mo. Okay? So please take note on that one. An example of that, like for example, if you're going to design, let's say, a column. Kunwari nakapag-design na tayo ng poste and then ang size ng bakal is 16 mm. Now, binodel mo, dinesign mo siya using STAAD and then minodel mo siya sa Revit. Now, sabihin natin nagkaroon ng changes along the way and then after that, it so happen na yung 16 mm, sabihin natin lumaki. So kung lumaki siya, naging 20 mm, so what will happen is that yung ating Revit model should also be updated, di ba? Kaya lang may mga cases minsan na hindi na natin na-update. And then you are confident enough na meron kang 3D model of that one na pwede mong gamitin for the quantity takeoff. So what happened is that you've calculated the estimate of the old model. So yun yung sinasabi ko na magre-rely yung BIM model mo or yung Revit model mo sa input mo. So kung hindi mo siya in-update, hindi ka makakakuha ng updated values as well. So doon pumapasok yung error. Pero technically, hindi naman error yung mapoproduce nung BIM kung hindi outdated or kung hindi mali yung mga inputs mo na inilagay in the first place. Pero basically, ang ang common denominator doon sa errors na to, well, of course, yung engineer itself. So, yung nag-input sa model and at the same time, if the engineer is doing it manually, um, that error will also arise kapag meron ding pagkakamali, of course, yung engineer. So might as well, if you are doing this estimate, whether you're using it through software or through spreadsheet, make sure that you do sanity check. Okay, you do self check bago mo ipa-check yan doon sa checker. At hindi po pwedeng wala kang checker kasi kapag wala kang checker, so ang mangyayari diyan is that walang makakakita nung ginawa mo kung if that is enough ba or if that is kailangang baguhin. Okay? Then BIM on the other hand offers more efficient, ito nga, accurate and collaborative approach to determining project cost. So, the learning objectives for today is to know the basic procedure of cost estimating in BIM and then understand the basic process of determining project cost. I think you all have this subject na QS, yung quantity surveying. So with that, since kung naturuan na kayo, kasi tinanong ko yung kabilang section kanina, so natapos na daw pala last sem yung QS, na I hope it's also the same with you, magkaiba lang kayo ng section. So doon tinuro sa inyo paano nag-estimate manually. Sa subject natin na to later kapag nakagawa na ako ng video, which I apologize dahil hanggang ngayon wala pa ako na-upload. Most likely next week magsisimula na ako mag-record. Medyo busy lang ako nowadays. Then with that, if you have an access with the software na ituturo ko, ipapakita ko din doon paano mag-quantity takeoff para in a way, you would be able to know how the software that used in BIM are being used in terms of the quantity takeoffs. Okay? Ayan. So we can compare kapag sa actual the quantity takeoff provided by the software and then the quantity takeoff provided manually. So for me, paano ba sabihin? An excellent engineer, don't rely heavily on softwares, kahit BIM pa yan. But that engineer should always do sanity checks whenever he's doing it manually and through BIM. So dapat magtutugma yung sagot ng parehong estimate. If there are discrepancies, it should be small and negligible. Pero kung medyo malaki yung discrepancy niya, so there's something wrong with one over the another. So kailangan alam mo paano mo siya i-address. Okay? Ayan. So the simulation of alternate factors and parameters that can affect project cost is an important step in the construction in the cost estimating process. An analysis of such alternates requires time and reliable information about the project. However, performing this cost analysis and simulation is often limited during the estimating process due to the compressed time allocated for such activities. Class, take note, ayun, uh, since we are living in the um, modern era na, wherein masyado ng maraming tawag dito, masyado ng maraming technology available. So, the use of manual, hindi na siya advisable, pero it is much advisable na marunong ka ng mga softwares. 'Di ba kapag gumagawa tayo ng mga CV or gumagawa tayo ng mga resume, and then later on when you applied for a vacant position sa future, makikita nyo that those companies require certain softwares because those softwares are being used doon sa company nila. So what I'm trying to say here is that even though you know the manual process, even though you are so very good at it, if you don't know what are the softwares that they use because they don't rely heavily. Ibig sabihin ng don't rely heavily, hindi ibig sabihin nun hindi na sila nagmamanual. Sometimes they do manual, pero most of the time they do software because of the time allocations. So mas makakatipid sila sa oras, sa pasweldo, mag-invest lang sila ng konti sa software. So in return, kaya nilang ipababa yung presyo ng project or maging competitive enough yung project na nasasalihan nila sa bidding nung company na binabanggit ko. Now with that, so yun, the benefit na makukuha natin with such softwares, yun nga, is napapabilis yung trabaho ng engineer. Unlike yung mga oldies nating mga engineers na medyo matatanda na hindi marunong ng mga softwares or konti lang softwares na alam nila, they don't adapt sa changes. So, mas matagal silang gumawa. Pero it doesn't mean na mali yung gawa nila, pero hindi na sila nagiging efficient because merong other methods to make the estimate more efficient. Okay? I hope nakukuha niyo yung concept about that. Then, yung part of this discussion on this module will focus on the BIM for cost estimating and how the use of BIM may facilitate cost estimators in their simulation and analysis. Class, yung buong topic na to, I will not teach you on how to estimate using BIM kasi nasa software yon. What we will discuss here is what are the paano yung method, what's the concept behind the cost estimating of the BIM softwares, and then we will be relating that with the manual estimation. Okay? Wait lang class. Okay. Then, yan, sige, let's go with the next slide. Okay. The expectation is that as the adoption and implementation of BIM in the AEC industry increases, the design and construction process will evolve, and so will the technology used to create a BIM or building information model. As consequence of evolving processes and technology, the method stakeholders used to fulfill their responsibilities on a project team will change. Okay, so yun na nga. As what I've said, 'di ba, yung may mga openings or mga vacancies sa trabaho. So they will fulfill or fill yung mga responsibility ng project team or the positions, yun na nga, magbabago. Like kung dati kailangan lang marunong mag-estimate, ngayon kailangan marunong gumamit ng Excel or marunong gumamit ng Revit or whatsoever. Okay, yun. Then, the future of the cost estimator's role and responsibilities will change to include more value-added activities to support cost management decisions. Okay, so this image shows the complexity of the cost estimating. Okay, take note that cost estimating is a complex activity that requires knowledge beyond quantification and pricing of materials and labor. So class, although yung topic natin dito ayan, although the topic of this module is BIM and cost estimating, the process of the cost estimating itself is complex. Hindi lang yan quantity takeoff ng cost, okay? Or quantity takeoff ng material. Kasi material lang din naman usually ang makukuha mo sa sa software. Kasi yun yung nakamodel. Pero how about the labor? Which is also part of the costing, di ba? Ng estimation or ng budget. How about the equipment? Okay, so wala pa dyan. And then other aspects like kung meron pa kayong mga pinagkakagastos ang mga indirect and direct costs. So yon. So eto, again, this is the flow of how the budget, the cost estimation goes from the plan for estimating and budgeting papunta sa quantity of, sa quantify the scope content in terms of the take-off, then the cost scope content going to the price, the cost estimate, and so on. So most likely the output that will be taken from the BIM models will start lang dito hanggang sa price, the cost estimate. Pero at a certain level lang na hanggang material. Pero yon, again, so ito yung estimating process as a whole. Okay? So kumbaga don't think that whenever we discuss estimate, we're only dealing with the material. We also deal with the cost of the labor and equipment. And at the same time, we match that with the contract value ng isang project. And also, if there are times na kailangan natin mag-divert ng mga funds or mag-divert ng budget or allocation doon sa certain fund. So we do that through this estimating process na to, yung as a whole. For example, kung kunwari nung nag-estimate ka tapos napanalunan mo yung bid, let's say 10 million, tapos ang worth ng materials mo is let's say around 5 million, pero medyo na di-delay ka na, meaning malaki na yung nagagastos mo sa labor. So what do you need to do is that you check if there are items in the materials na pwede mong pamurahin. Pamurahin meaning magba-value engineering ka, mag-replace ka ng mga materials, pwede mag-replace ka ng mga brands. Kung dati, for example, ang ginamit mo Boysen, example lang to ha, Boysen, and then hanap ka ng ibang alternative na pwedeng gawing pintura na para makamura, na pareho lang din naman ng ibibigay sa yung result. So, yun. So, we also do that. Okay, para lang mag-divert. Pero, lahat yun ginagawa dito na hindi siya naka-capture. Again, doon sa BIM in terms of the cost estimating. Okay? Ayan. Ito, discussion to last time, I think. So, let's keep with that one and then this one. Ito. The estimating process. Wait lang . Okay. So, the estimating process, okay? So, the estimating process can be done, again, as I've said a while ago, in traditional manner or in BIM perspective. Okay? So, paano ba natin siya ginagawa? Okay? Then, how the BIM perspective is being managed or being done. Okay? So, una, yung estimating process natin, ito yung pinaka-basic at the very least, ito yung tinuro ng mga prof nyo, is that you do that by pencil, or pen, paper tsaka calculator, di ba? Nagmo-multiply ka, i-check mo, for example, meron kang plano, binilang mo ilan yung footing. Let's say you have 9 footing. Then you will check ano ba yung designation niya sa footing schedule. Let's say all of them are F1. So meaning, pare-pareho sila ng schedule. So you check the dimension of that F1 footing. Let's say the dimension is 1 meter by 1 meter in area. Then the thickness is 200 mm. So you multiply that 1 by 1 by 0.2. So that is the volume of the concrete. Okay. And then you multiply that by 9 kasi 9 yung bilang ng footing natin. So plain and simple, ganun lang. You do the traditional method. Now, if things goes complex, and then if you don't want to repeat the process every time na may changes, for example, yung 9 footings na yon imbis na 1 by 1 by 0.2, naging 1.2 by 1.2 by 0.2. So medyo lumaki yung cross-sectional yung area niya by 200 by 200. So ayaw mo namang mag-compute uli from scratch. Wait lang. Okay. Now, if things are too complex for the paper, pencil, and calculator or medyo dumadami na, pwede na natin siyang or normal
Sir, excuse me po. Nakamute po yata sila. Thank you po.
Ay, sorry. Nakamute nga, tama. Handa ka ba na sinabi ko? Saan ako nag-stop dito? Dito ba? I think dito. Sige, ulitin ko na lang. Okay, so yung first method is yung paper, pencil, and calculator. So for example, you have 1 by 1 by 0.2 na footing. Diba? So you multiply that para makuha mo yung volume and then you check ilang piraso ba yung footing sa plan na may ganong klaseng schedule. So you multiply that. For example, if there is 9 footing na 1 by 1 by 2.2, so yun yung ano natin, value natin. Now, if there would be any changes, tapos magkakaroon tayo ng more changes and then magiging complex na yung ating calculation, dumadami na maliban sa footing, etc. So we may use also spreadsheet. Pwede Microsoft Excel or other software that is using spreadsheet format. Now, with this, ang kinagandahan naman nito versus the manual method or yung mano-mano is that mano-mano din siya, manual pero computerized. I-input mo lang yung value, i-adjust mo ng konti. So, yun na yung ano natin, calculations natin. We may not see the formula itself pero yung formula kasi embedded na doon sa cell. Kung nakagamit na kayo nito, di ba, pag kinlik mo yung formula nandito sa cell using PEMDAS method. Okay? So, yun. Then yun, kapag kunwari naging 1.2 nga yung example ko kanina instead of 1 by 1, so palitan mo lang yung value, mag-update na siya automatic. So, that's the good thing with these spreadsheets. But take note class that spreadsheet is not a BIM software. It is considered pa din na manual. Kasi, or the traditional. Kasi, na formulate ito, wala pang BIM. Okay? Wala pang mga modeling na yan. At isa pa, na formulate ito nang wala din talagang model. So, by just merely looking doon sa plan, na sabihin natin pinarin sa papel, magagawa natin yung spreadsheet na yan. Okay? And then, the third one is again yung my favorite is the combination of the two. Whenever I create a spreadsheet, I always make sure that I will cross-check it with a calculator. So, kino-combine ko silang dalawa. Okay, dapat ganun din kayo para ma-check nyo tama ba yung in-input ko doon each cell. Kasi it's very it's very dangerous kapag nag-rely ka lang sa lumabas sa laptop, okay? Or doon sa spreadsheet. So very dangerous 'yon kasi hindi mo alam kung tama ba yung in-input mo. Kailangan mo ng sanity check. So yung self-check para alam mong, "Di tama yung ginagawa ko." Siyempre, kapag pina-check mo 'yon, kunwari sa boss mo, ma-appreciate niya na, tama yung mga ginagawa niya. Hindi siya masyadong nagkakamali. Kasi sa end mo, you do filter on how do we ensure the quality or the self check. Okay? And one more thing, siguro pwede din natin 'tong ma-relate sa kahit na simpleng subject nyo, although sabihin natin hindi Excel. 'Di ba kapag meron kayong mga subject na nagtuturo sa inyo ng mga calculations, so gumagamit kayo ng calculator. Now, I notice nowadays students rely sa ShipSolve ng calculator. So, i-relate ko lang to ha. Okay. So, if you are very reliant with the ShipSolve, walang problema. Pero if you almost forgot or nakalimutan mo na or hindi mo na alam how ShipSolve works, okay? So, it would be very hard for you later to pinpoint bakit may problema. Kaya minsan 'di ba sa mga ShipSolve may lalabas syntax error, math error, mga ganon. So, pwede nagkamali ka ng input, pwedeng hindi kaya ng calculator kasi sobrang complex. So, what you need to do is to first, you simplify the given. The more you simplify the the solution na i-input mo sa calculator mo, mas madali. Okay? Now, if it is much better if instead of kung if you want to find x, like for example, you do it manually, meaning i-simplify mo hanggang makuha mo yung x nang hindi gumagamit ng ShipSolve, it is much better. Now, kapag nakuha mo siya, you check it with the ShipSolve. So, 'di ba mas maganda 'yun na pag nakuha mo pareho, so it is much better. Ganon din 'yun na pag nag-ShipSolve ka, i-double check mo ng manual. So, 'yun yung isa sa mga parang processes on how we make sure the sanity check of our um, problem solving. So again, similar with the estimating. Kasi parehas lang silang may sinosolve eh. And then you have two different methods. So you should apply them both by checking one over the other. Okay? Ayan. And then, in addition to categorize based on the tools used as the traditional or BIM generated estimates, okay? Cost estimates are also categorized based on the methodology used for estimating. So pag nag-estimate tayo, actually, in a bigger picture, ang tawag dyan, either stochastic or deterministic. Pag sinabi natin stochastic, it used algorithms. It used statistical data. Okay? Statistics ang ginagamit niyan. Siguro naman nakadinig na kayo ng mga term na algorithm, 'di ba? Yung iba, sinusubukan nilang hanapin yung algorithm na stock market, kung kailan magpipick, tas kailan magda-dive at kailan matatapos yung dive. So I think wala pang nakakakuha nung nung formula na yun kung tuwing kailan. Now, In terms of that one, how do we apply stochastic in terms of the estimating process? Not on BIM alone ha, in overall. So ganito yon. Kapag may, let's say may project ka, kunwari, for example tayo ng mga developer like, let's say, SMDC, yung mga condominiums nila. Kunwari may tatayo silang bagong buildings, let's say dito around Taguig, example Taguig. So titingnan nila magkano ba yung magagastos natin. Without any calculation na yung kailangan mo muna mag-provide ng plan, kailangan mo muna mag-provide ng everything, tas yun yung i-quantity take off mo. Syempre hindi nila gagawin yun. Iisipin nila yung ball figure, magkano ang budget ko. 'Di ba? Ganun din pag nagpapagawa ng bahay, 'di ba? Magkano ba budget ko? Parang ganun. Now with that, so for us to have a figure or amount for the cost, we check the statistical data. Sa mga past projects mo, magkano nagastos mo. For example, may project ka sa Makati, may project ka sa... Okay. Sorry, class. Kumatay yung anak ko. Anyway, so yun. So we use statistical data for us to determine the cost. For example, you have a project sa Makati, sa Pasay, sa Paranaque, which is near the area. Then also project sa Taguig. Then kailan ba nangyari yung year na yon? Then you compare yung gravity ng project. Let's say yung bago mong project is 50-story condominium, tapos ganito yung floor area. You compare that with the existing ones. Siyempre, hindi naman pare-pareho sila yung cost tsaka yung mga area, yung floor level, pero meron kang basis. And apart from that, each existing projects, alam mo kailan siya nag-start, alam mo kailan siya natapos. Now, kung ngayon mo gagawin, let's say yung isa, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, ganyan, you just multiply that. Sorry, class. So yun, with those years given, you multiply that with the inflation. And then you formulate, pwede mong i-graph through linear graphical method or pwedeng exponential kung gusto mong logarithmic, kung gusto mong medyo accurate. Now, with that, you would be able to formulate the statistical data na meron ka, and then malalaman mo magkano yung pwedeng maging cost ng project. And then yun yung ginagamit na baseline ng mga owner later na, let's say pag magpapabid sila, yun yung budget nila. Hindi ibig sabihin na yun yung budget nila is eksakto yon. It can be plus or minus. Okay, so yun, based in stochastic. Kapag sinabi naman nating deterministic, okay, eto, yung multiply natin sa units tapos kung magkano yung cost. Yun yung normal na ginagawa natin. We get the volume, we compute the waters, kunwari volume ng concrete, and then we compute that based on the the cement sand gravel ratio. Then pag nakuha na natin ilang bag ng cement, ilang cubic meters of sand and gravel, you multiply that with the unit cost na available sa hardware. So yun, so that's how the estimating process work. It can be done stochastic or it can be done sa deterministic. Pero again, take note class, ang beam and then yung mga manual method natin, and yung beam is always done based on deterministic kasi you determine the factors, you determine the inputs. So yun yung bibigyan niya ng cost. On the other hand, for the stochastic, it can be done it can only be done manually dahil kailangan mo yung i-graph. Then yun nga, another part of the manually pa din is yung part niya is dito sa deterministic, which is kung ano yung tinuro sa inyo sa QS before. Okay? I think that's the end of my lecture. So I will discuss the paano ba to? You would be able to further appreciate yung Beam kapag nagsimula na tayo pumunta doon sa sa modeling. Pero for now, yun, antay-antay na lang, mahaba pa naman yung semester. And then, while waiting for my video tutorial for that one, so might as well, we will just stick first with the module provided by the department. Okay, wala muna akong hihingin sa inyo mga requirement other than sa mga quizzes natin na pwede na gagawin natin sa mga susunod na mga araw. Pero um, uh, since this would be the end of my lecture, meron ba muna kayong question bago ko ituloy sasabihin ko? May question ba pala? I hope everything's clear naman. Let me just turn off the record na kasi ayan,